Thank you so much for joining us today for our in-first session for RFP for 1500 to 1610 South Avenue in Syracuse, New York. We're so happy that you could join us. On today's panel, of course, we have Monica Dean from LISC New York, who will be first up discussing the opportunity. So I'll give it right over to Monica.
Thank you, Rhonda Lee. And again, good afternoon, everyone. And again, welcome to this information session for a request for a proposal for a co-developer for one of our 2023 New York Land Opportunity cohort participants, the Women Economics Institute in Syracuse, New York. So I am the Director of Housing here at LISC New York. I'm responsible for overseeing and managing all of our housing programs. And so with the team at LISC New York, Rhonda Lee, and others, we work very hard to help develop affordable housing programs to grow capacity within the affordable housing industry. And so I have had the pleasure of serving in this role now for about two and a half years. Next slide. And so we do this work again with our residents. We have lots of partners across New York State in range of different communities to help us to provide these opportunities for New York residents, as we are committed to help creating great places for residents to live, work, and play in New York State. And so for those of you who may not be as familiar with LISC, the Local Initiative Support Corporation, we are a national nonprofit community development institution. We have over 40 offices across the country where we support those communities and underinvested communities with capital strategy and just technical know-how to help their places to thrive. And one of the things that we always like to point out is that LISC New York City office is the flagship office of LISC. We were created in 1980, and so we have 40 plus years of doing this work where we serve communities through our programs, as I mentioned earlier, that really help us to create a more equitable, inclusive, and sustainable New York. And so we believe in the past and now that working together, we will be able to accomplish the goal to help eradicate racial wealth gap for good and protecting affordable housing for New York residents across the state by building pathways of meaningful economic opportunity for everyone. And so just a brief overview about the goals of the LISC New York Land Opportunity Program, which we refer to as NYLOP. Again, that's the New York Land Opportunity Program. We work with faith-based organizations and mission-driven organizations across the state of New York who own land and they have an interest in developing affordable housing on the land that they own, but they just don't exhibit all of the capabilities to do so independently. And so through this program, we focus on providing these organizations, with financial, technical, legal, development support to help bring their projects to fruition. In April of 2023, we issued a request for expression of interest, which we refer to as RFEI, to mission-driven organizations and faith-based organizations across the state of New York who meet the criteria for consideration in this program. And so I do want to just mention that prior to the 2023 NYLOP program, we were specific to New York City. So we were super duper excited that we were able to, in April of 2023, launch the first statewide NYLOP, where we expanded our capacity to provide this program to organizations in the western part of the state. And so we are happy to be working with this 2023 cohort. In June, we selected 7 faith-based organizations and mission-driven organizations to participate in the cohort. And so we are working with them, and this is part of the process, to select a co-developer to support their vision and mission for implementation of their project. And so now I would like to introduce Ms. Charlene Tarver, who is the CEO of the Women's Economic Institute. Charlene is a native Syracusan, and she has lived there for more than 33 years in this major metropolitan market across the country, is what she calls it, doing what she loves most. And so you will hear from her just talking about the vision that the Women's Economic Institute that they have for this project. She will share briefly a little bit, about the organization and what they do. And then following Ms. Tarver, I will come back and introduce our presenter, Jimmy Miller, who will walk us through the scope of work, just high-level scope of work and what we're looking for in the proposals in response to the RFP that we issued. So Ms. Tarver, I'll turn it over to you.
Yes, good afternoon. Thank you so much, Ms. Dean and Mr. Miller. And most importantly, thank you to LISC for partnering with the Women's Economic Institute to further develop this project that we are extremely passionate about. As Ms. Dean indicated, my name is Charlene Tarver. I am the CEO of the Women's Economic Institute. And this project is located in the heart of the city's urban core. The project actually stems from our work around community and economic development. The Women's Economic Institute was formed in 2017. We expanded our reach into Central New York in 2021, and we acquired land through the land bank to develop out this project. This is a 61-unit micro-community. It's senior rental housing, and it includes a community service facility as well as a public-facing food hall. Many of you may not know this, but Syracuse has the highest concentrated Black and brown child poverty in the nation. The city also on the south side has a high rate of hospitalization for what is referred to as metabolic syndrome. So that's 3 or more core health morbidities. And that's things like diabetes, heart disease, cancer, high blood pressure, hypertension. So it's very important to us in our goal around community and economic development to really look at how we could help to stabilize the community, both from a community building perspective and an economic development perspective. Our vision is that this project, once it's fully completed, will be transformative for this community. I have lived in major metropolitan markets across the country for the last 33 years and came back to or returned to Syracuse in 2021 to really drive this particular project. My background is I'm a former tax and business attorney. I am a fund development specialist, and I've done capital projects and expansion projects with organizations like Georgetown University, Phoenix Children's Hospital Foundation, an international fundraising organization, Arizona State University. And I also bring a background in bond financing and bond development through my work with the Phoenix Industrial Development Authorities Board. So in the city of Syracuse, we currently operate a 6,600 square foot incubator that serves and supports BIPOC women entrepreneurs. We sublet office space, conduct classes, immersive in the classroom training that focuses on business development and growth. We also have a classroom that is open to women returning to work and at-risk young adults. We have our kids' place. We have a closet for women who are looking to return to work, who need professional clothing and attire. And so that incubator concept would be carried over into the Southside Renaissance Project. Our goal in the project is to provide a space, training, and food prep space and service space for local BIPOC, low-income food restaurateurs, as well as retail operators. So teaching them business, their business acumen, all of the back office and back end administrative aspect of running a business, but also dealing with food prep, certification, refrigeration, food hygiene, also being able to serve the community where there is a high rate of obesity, and there is a lot of, again, issue around food health. And this is a food and retail desert. And again, I grew up in this community. I'm excited to be back. I'm excited to partner with LISC on this project. We believe this project will be transformative for this community, and we would love to partner with a co-developer who believes in creating community and building neighborhoods that serve the needs of the community, that create jobs, that create wellness. Because we know that when people live in healthy zip codes, they live better, healthier lives. And so we're very, very, very committed to this project. And I will be around to answer any questions if anyone has any specific questions.
Thank you, Ms. Tarver, for that. Thank you so much. And now I would like to reintroduce Mr. Jimmy Miller. Jimmy has been serving as LISC New York's development consultant partner for quite a few years now. Jimmy is the CEO and founder of Sincere Consulting Company. So Jimmy, with his team, they have been providing strategic planning and development consultant for all of the 2022 and the 2023 NYLOP cohort participants. And so I won't read all of his leadership positions in the past. I won't date you, Jimmy, but I will just say that he has decades of experience in doing this work, and we are delighted to have him as part of the team here at LISC New York, working with us on our New York Land Opportunity Program. So, Jimmy, I am going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Ms. Dean, and thank you for not dating me. Appreciate that. As Ms. Dean said, I'm going to give a very brief overview so that we can have as much time for questions as possible. Again, the concept plan has been outlined in the RFP starting on page 8, and I'm just going to give you a brief synopsis of that. The concept plan consists of 3 lots, 1 building on the west side that will be demolished by the seller before closing. And as Ms. Tarver said, they have site control of the site with a purchase agreement from the Greater Syracuse Land Bank. The objective is to build 61 units of housing, affordable housing. The overall plan calls for about 56,000 square feet of space, residential space, and about 23,000 gross square feet of commercial space. So that is the overall scope. 26 1-bedroom units in one property and 35 in the other. Ms. Tarver has done a tremendous job. This group has made a tremendous amount of progress. So it's very important that we understand where they are in the process. And to date, on page 11 of the RFP, it delineates all of the activities that they've already done. Briefly, they have an architect, they have an engineer, they've done civil MEP, the structural drawings. They've completed a pro forma and cash flow analysis. They've applied to the New York State Housing and Community Renewal for low-income housing tax credits. They've completed a phase 1 ESA. No phase 2 is needed. They've done a marketing study, and they've done site plans and floor plans, and they've engaged their own consultant, development consultant, and energy consultant. So as you can see, they've done quite a bit of pre-development activities already. So that's something that anyone responding to the RFP should be aware of that. In terms of the scope of work for the co-developer, that scope of work is defined on page 13 to page 17 of the RFP. And again, I'm not going to delineate them one by one, but just to say that, again, we're looking for a partner for the WEI. We're looking for a partner that has the development capabilities and the financial capabilities to help the WEI bring this very ambitious project to fruition. We're looking for the co-developer to provide 100% of the pre-development financing. We're looking for the co-developer to provide all of the customary guarantees, completion guarantees, operating deficit guarantees, LITEC compliance guarantees. So anyone, again, responding to the RFP should be aware of the guarantees and the economic underpinning of the RFP as well. So again, and so we're going to be asking for anyone that has questions. We'll be taking questions later, but also note that questions will be taken up until February the 12th. And those questions can be submitted to the address that's identified in the RFP. And then we plan to respond to those questions by February the 19th, which we understand is a holiday, so we would have responded by then. And most importantly, the responses to the RFP are due on February 26th, 2024, and no application will be accepted after the deadline. So that is the RFP, and very briefly explained. Turn it back over. The evaluation criteria, again, broadly put, co-developer team experience. Again, looking for a co-developer, looking for them to have at least 5 years of experience. I'm looking for them to have completed at least 2 projects of a comparable size and scope within the last 5 years. Looking for key staff that has the expertise in LITEC, in public financing, and a full understanding of the state of New York's housing programs. Key business terms. We'll be looking for you to delineate the share of developers' fees, and we'll delineate in the RFP the minimum share of fees that the WEI is looking for. We're looking to share fees. We're looking to share cash flow. We're looking to share residual values. And so those things are very important. The methodology, looking for you to define for us so that we understand, that you understand the steps in bringing this project from concept to a financial closing to construction to lease up. Financial capabilities, we're looking for 2 years of financial statements. We'll be analyzing those statements to make sure you have the necessary liquidity and to bring this project to fruition. So we'll be analyzing that. And this is something that's very important to both the WI as well as to LISC New York. We're looking for make sure that you give us a plan that shows your prior experience with MBE, WBE, and BIPOC, both employment and contracting, and we'll be evaluating and scoring that plan as well. So that is the evaluation criteria that we will use in conjunction with the WEI to select the most qualified co-developer. Again, the timeline I just briefly went over. Today is the non-mandatory informational session. Questions will be taken shortly today, and then questions can also be submitted to us by the deadline of February 22nd at 3 p.m. Responses are due no later than the responses to the RFP are due no later than Monday, February 26th at 3 p.m. So that is the timeline that you should be cognizant of. I think you can proceed on to the next slide. And now this is the fun part of the undertaking, is the questions and answers.
Thank you for that, Jimmy. And we will put our contact information in the chat. It's also available on the LISC New York website page. And so if you have any questions, comments, need additional clarity regarding anything outlined in the RFP or anything shared this afternoon, please, you can raise your hand or you can put your question in the chat, not the chat, in the Q&A option down below. Okay, so if we do not have any questions, we want to thank you all again for joining us this afternoon. We will accept questions for another week. So again, by all means, don't hesitate to reach out to us, send us an email, and we will definitely follow up with everyone. Oh, did I see a question added in the chat as we're leaving? Okay, so from Octavia Fraser Porter, Octavia wants to know, are there zoning or site plan approvals on the site?
Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
I'm gonna let Ms. Tarver take that one. Ms. Tarver.
So at this point, we have met with the city of Syracuse with the permits departments to do kind of a preliminary review of the project. We do expect that there will be 2 variances requested and or required for the project. We don't foresee any challenges with zoning. However, we haven't had any formal approval of the zoning or the site plans, but we have shared those with the city of Syracuse. We also have applied to New York State Housing and Community Renewal for low-income housing tax credits for the project. So at this point, we have not received zoning and/or site approval. We have, however, been working with the city and do not anticipate that we will have challenges regarding that. The two particular variances that will need to be requested, one is for parking and another is for, if you look at the visuals that are attached to the RFP, you'll see bump outs on one of the images or the illustrations. So we will require variances for the bump outs.
You can, can put them in the chat, or you can use the raise hand feature. Thanks for the question, Octavia. Okay, so going once, going twice. Before we make the final call for last questions, I don't see any, I don't hear any. So I will adjourn this webinar. And again, thanks to everyone for joining. And again, we want to reiterate that you can and should feel free to reach out to us if you have any additional questions regarding this request for a proposal. So thank you so much and enjoy the rest of your day.